Hi everyone. Namaste. My name is Nikesh Balami. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Open Knowledge Nepal. I'm also part of Youth IGF Nepal team and Internet Society Nepal chapter. It's good to see a few familiar faces in the room. And thank you so much for joining this session, which is titled "Empowering Data for All: Unlocking Trust and Transparency Using Open Data Editor." Many of you might be already familiar with the concepts, like might be using data on their day-to-day or their regular life. But this is going to be very informal kind of session. So originally when we planned the session, initially as the APrIGF was planned to be in person, so we're thinking about having the group divisions and some hands-on around how the tools can be used for data cleaning, identifying error kinds of stuff. But things get remote, so we have a bit changes on how it might look like today. So we'll have a demo on the step tools on how the tools can be used, and some of you are free to use it during the sessions. And if there are like any confusions and questions, we can already discuss in the session if there is time available, and if not, I think we'll definitely share our contact details, and everything is already there on online, which can be kind of followed. And a lots of user guide are already there so that how the datasets can be used. So I'll just quickly start with some basic questions and the background on what the tool is all about and what it really does. And maybe I can get started with the questions also. I also have James Shrestha with me, who is my colleagues and who lead the operations in our organizations, doing lots of technical stuff. So it might be also a good point of contact for our discussion. So talking a bit about the background, so I think so as many of you have already noticed, so we represent Open Knowledge Nepal. So we're also part of this Open Knowledge Foundation, which is a global not-profit organization. So the organization has been establishing open standards since past 20 years. So it has been quite a while, and we provide surveys, tools, and trainings to institutions who are kind of eager to add up openness as a design principle. So we are the official chapter of it, and we are registered as a non-profit civic tech organization here in Nepal. What we do, I think things are pretty straightforward and clear. So we build communities, tools, and skills to empower and individuals, at the same time organization to use open information to create insights and drive change. So one of our core motive in Nepal and globally is to make sure that people make decisions, people drive insight based on informations, data, evidence rather than hypothesis. So that's where we build lots of communities around different thematic areas. At the same time, we kind of build different kinds of tools and technologies which kind of help people to make sure, okay, working with data is much more easier rather than, okay, complex. You don't need to have advanced data science or data analytical degree just to work on the data set that's required for your day-to-day job or day-to-day operation kinds of stuff. So that's just a basic organization background so that you all know who are the people speaking in front of a screen. So yeah, I think we can already start with the question, just to get a brief background on who really we are and what kinds of data sets you really work on. So it's not a complex question; it's just a yes/no questions, just to understand whether people in this room use data sets, some kinds of tabular Excel sheets on their day-to-day jobs, or if not, so that we can make sure that okay, this session is kind of relevant to every one of us kinds of stuff. So we have a Mentimeter setup with three questions, just yes and no, and just a few questions. Maybe James can already share the link of the Mentimeter in the chat, and if not, if you are from the mobile phone, you can also join using the QR code or using the Menti code that's in the below. So I can keep that for this 30 seconds, and I can go to jump back to the question. I'll share my entire screen. Just give me a second. if everyone uh, has scanned the code, I can jump with the question. Uh, so this is our first question. So how many of you work with data or interact with data, small or use in a daily task? So I think uh, will get up. So I think we can already see the numbers coming. People are using data. It can be small Excel sheet, it can be just a Google sheet, but it has been like kind of used on the day-to-day task kind of stuff. Some people use sometimes only, and I think there is no never. I think we kind of somehow have been using data sets in our day-to-day life, whether that be for the small financial calculations or for our organization jobs and tasks kind of stuff. So please, other people also feel free to join, kind of join the Mentimeter. Uh, James, can you also share, make sure that the okay links are there in the chat kind of stuff? Okay, there are lots of sometimes. So okay, I think it's a good number. So there is no one we have chosen neighbor. So I think there is daily and there is sometimes. So I think we can go to the next question now. So I think daily and sometimes is kind of equal. So this is our next question. I think you can use the same mental link. So how many of you have the coding skills and use them for the tasks like data cleaning or identifying error in the data set? So I think there is a Google Sheet, there is Excel Sheet, there is Microsoft Excel, there is LibreOffice based on what types of tool might use it. So I think there is also lots of programming skills that are like kind of available for data cleaning, right? So Python, R. So there are lots of coding skills. So just to get a bigger background, how many of are like using the programming skills just for the data cleaning or identifying the errors in the data set? We already have a good numbers on no. So I think this session is going to be very helpful for people joining today because this is the no code tool which works offline, which is very privacy friendly. So might be a good resources for people who have chosen no and who don't have like coding skills for data cleaning or identify error kinds of stuff. I'll just give 20 more seconds more for other people to vote if they are interested. You can use the same link. So I believe this is a no, and I think it's also good to have some people in the room who have a coding skills and who have been like using data cleaning. We have been doing data cleaning using that. I think whether that be R code or Python code. Last but not the least, I think this has already given us a good background. Okay, on okay, people are using data, but people don't really have lots of programming skills just to work on this much, and it might not be required also. My or our last question is, which spreadsheet software do we use to clean or organize data? So I think many people are like using Microsoft Excel. Some might be using LibreOffice. Some might be using Google Sheet. I think there are others. So in the MacBook, I think people are using Pages or something like that. So please feel free to like pop your answers if you are using. So the Excel has become. So I think people definitely use Microsoft Excel, and I think lots of people nowadays use Google Sheet also. Google Sheet, yeah. Also, like if for the people who are using who have a programming skill. So I think if someone are using Open Refine or some tools like that, who are like kind of dedicated for data cleaning, data analysis, or identifying error, please feel free to like pop out the answers. I think that might be also relevant to the non-technical users or non-technical people who are in the room, especially in the field of open data and data management. So I think like people are using Python libraries too. So I think Google Drive, Google Sheet, Excel Sheet. Yeah, but overall, I think Google Sheet and Excel Sheet win the race. Win the race for us. This is what is all about. So, and thank you so much for thank you so much everyone for joining the quick poll. But this was the definitely our question. So people are using data on the day-to-day task. Many of us like, don't have coding skills or programming skills to clean or identify the errors in the data. And okay, but people are using. But now imagine, so there is a scenario in our last question that so now imagine working with the data set that contains thousands of rows and columns, and how challenging do you think it will be identify or correct errors in such data set? So I think for the participants who are using Google Sheet, Excel Sheet. So I think if there are like thousands rows and columns, uh, that might be also very difficult. So identifying what types of errors there are. So imagine there is a tabular data set with okay rows, columns, and everything, but something gets misplaced. So there are different kinds of error, right? So there are some grammatical error might be there, and there's some scientific error might be there. So if there is like only few number of data sets. Data in the in our data set, I think that might be very easy. Okay, and we can just look into it, and okay, there are the missing places and we can just correct it, right? But for the imagine now that's for the bigger data sets, for the data sets that are like that has thousands of rows and columns. So how challenging that might be. We just need to scroll on our spreadsheet, just go down, go side by side, and just to find the errors. If we have some level of digital literacy for them, I think some sort of sorting, some sort of filtering might help out. But having that good quality data standard might be a very big challenging problem, right? So they might not be able to give a good metadata, which might be very useful, and also make sure that it's not published. So that's where we build. So that was the problem statement that we have been looking into, and that's why we proposed this session. So we realized that okay, the organization and individuals, so public official, activists, trainers, journalists, data practitioners, with no coding skills are spending a significant amount of time exploring the tabular data sets and accesses quality, source for errors, prepare data file for cleaning. So I think for computer engineers, computer scientists, IT people, that might be a very easy task. But for the public official, the activists, the trainers, journalists, I think they have been like already spending a lot amount of time in their day-to-day operation just to access the quality of the tabular data sets, source for errors, and make sure that okay, data analysis are like we are good to go for data analysis, but there are errors that are already there. So because they don't have a lot of coding skill, so they have to perform a large number of actions, a wide range of features and functions in a spreadsheet to like Google Sheet, OpenOffice, Access, to go through process. So the tools that we mentioned in our recent survey, I will say, just to access. Okay, they have been like because they don't have the coding skills, they have to like okay perform large number of actions. They have to go through okay, click around it, wide range of features. Okay, what are the missing cells are there? What are the grammatical? What are the date errors are there? Kind of stuff, right? So it has to do all manually. So that might be a that might require a significant amount of time whether we realize it or not, so right. So we saw that, and to just to solve this problem, so we kind of brainstormed globally. So this is not the tools of Open Knowledge Nepal, but the tools of Open Knowledge Foundation, which has been like developed in collaboration with the Open Knowledge Network. So people all around the world contribute in an open source manner to contribute their perspective, to contribute their coding skills, to contribute their use case kinds of stuff. Uh, so that's where we bring the intervention called Open Data Editor, and that's what the today's session is all about for non-technical users, for the activists like us, for the journalists, for the people who are working in the field of internet governance who might have a good digital skill but doesn't really might have the good data skills, right? So the tool is called Open Data Editor. So it's a free and open source tool designed to help the non-profit people, data journalists, activists, and public servant to detect error in a data set. So I think we don't really have a lot of fancy jargon in our definitions because the tool has been developed specifically for one purpose, which is to detect error in the dataset, and that too in the tabular dataset. So the tool doesn't do lots of fancy stuff uh, and doesn't really have lots of jargon in it. It just it has been like used for okay one thing. So it's for non-technical, non-profit data journalist people that help to detect errors. So it has been designed for people working in tabular data sets, as mentioned. So Access, Google Sheets, CSV files who don't know how to code or don't have programming skills to automate the data exploration process. So if you have the programming skill, these tools might not be the very useful thing for you. But if you don't have the programming skills, so this is the right thing. So it's very simple. It's lightweight. It's privacy friendly because it's work offline. It doesn't take the data and give it to some other AI platforms or some other stakeholders. And built for real world challenges like offline and low resource settings. So one of the things that we did while building this tool was okay. It has to work offline. So there are already a lot of online tools available, but for the country like Nepal or for different country around the Asia Pacific, the offline models is still very compatible because we don't know about the internet. There are lots of disasters happening and also lots of censorship happening. So that's why we decided, okay, it has to go offline, and it also at the same time it has to work on low resource setting. Just to run this tool, we don't need to have like the i7 computers or some fancy MacBook or server to do it. So it can be it works on a very okay different operating system and has a very low resource requirement. So this is the definition. Open data editor isn't just another complex data tool. It's a shortcut for beta data and input data literacy. So also it's not just only about the tool, but at the same time, I'll just later present during my presentation also. Okay, where can you learn more about okay quality data sets kinds of stuff, because it's not just about tool, but at the same time it's also about the data literacy. So this is not a complex data tool. It's just a beta shortcut for data literacy. So it basically highlights, as I mentioned during initial phase, uh, it it helps you do a very few tasks, and three of these are the major ones. So one, it helps detect error in detect error in a spreadsheet in the matter of seconds. So I'll just show you the demo of like how it will do it. So can so all of you can like try it as I say it, or like if not later after the session, you can just download the tools, explore it, use your data set, ingest your data sets, and see how the tools work. So second, check if data formats and columns are correct or not. So it helps you correct your metadata, because if you are people working on some level of data set, I think you already know the importance and value of metadata in it. So it's not just about the data set and detecting error in it. So it helps you correct the metadata, define what types of data sets is really it, and at the same time, we have been focusing on long data skills with individual tools. So we are also focusing more on data literacy things. So because without literacy, I think using or working on the data set might be a very critical part of it. So how to use it? I think we have a 40 more minutes left, and I think we can go through some level of demo of all these five steps. And like later, if you have like any questions, we can definitely discuss around it. So how can you use it? I think the process are very simple. Download and install app at the first part. Um, like any other software, this is a very straightforward process, and it's available for all major platforms. So if you are using Microsoft Windows, it's available for that. If you are using Mac OS, it's available for that. And if you are using some other Linux operating system, I think it's available for Ubuntu and Debian. Uh, so once you download and install the app, second part is definitely the upload the dataset. You can upload the two type of dataset until now, although the system used to support a lot of different kinds of dataset, but we have been gathering a lot of feedback from the community, and I also look forward to like gather more from the APrIGF participant also on what type of data sets we really more focus on. So currently it's focused on CSV data set and Excel data set. Third step, read and explore the file to detect error. So the tools read and explore the files and detect the errors. And after explorations errors, so after exploring error, user can use the tool to edit the set, so means correct the data set. And there is also the AI features that has been like recently developed. I can just quickly show you how that works, and user can like save the changes after the correction is done, kinds of thing. And once the errors are corrected, you can like just explore the file and use it for further processing. So you cannot do everything in this tool. So the tool says, okay, as the session title mentioned, empowering data for all. So we just want to make sure that okay, the initial phase of data cleaning gets it easy, so rather than the entire process. So I can quickly show you how it can be done. So I can just say, so for the downloading of the data sets, I think the process is very simple. As mentioned, there is a three processes involved. First, you have to go to the Open Data Editor page that's available in the Open Knowledge Foundation website. Choose what types of operating system do you use. And there is also the link to the source code you can, like, because it's an, as the name mentioned, I think it's all developed using open methodology, and the contributions made, everything is very open. So you can also directly look into the source code and how it can be done. And once download, that will come to your computer. So you can also use this, or James can share the link to with you. Or the process is very simple. I can just quickly so go through it. So this is the Open Knowledge Foundation website. And in the projects, so there are lots of other projects in it. So uh, mm, if you're not interested on open data editor, I think we can always find our path in other process, like for the DPI, for open knowledge network, or if you are working on climate, we are also doing some projects around climate and school of data kinds of stuff. That's a lot of other projects for us to collaborate. And there is also the open data editor. So once you click on it, this page will open, and this page already have lots of use cases on it. So I think it might have also have a use case from your country too. So if you are from Asia Pacific, I think there are lots of uses around it. You can use the technical documentation. There are lots of videos and things that are already there on different kinds of use case and different kinds of piloting projects. But the things that I really wanted to show was this part. So currently there is the Open Data Editor 1.7.0 version available. So you can just click on it. So if you're using a Linux operating system, you can click for Debian or Ubuntu. If you're Mac, I'm using Mac, I can click on Mac and download. And if I'm using Windows, I can click on Windows. So if I click on date, I think it's very easy and it's getting download. So that process is very easy and straightforward. So I encourage, if you are like so initially when this was planned for the in person, I think our idea was to like divide into group and like do one testing in each table. But currently it's moving to the demo only. But I encourage all of you to like just go ahead and like download and install the tools kinds of stuff, just to get the idea of like how the tool might work out. So if you are looking for assistance on how to install it, I think that process is also very easy. I think for the software installation, I think for the participant in this room, we might not need in-depth technical knowledge. Just you can just click on it and install it. But if you are looking for the documentation on how to install the app, so for the first time users, also like it also depend upon what type of operating system you are using it, right? So for because this tools has come through different testings, but at the same time this has also the contributions of many people. So sometimes some sort of security things in a laptop can block it. So there are also lots of documentation around it. So you can just click into this, and this will take you through the process of like how you can use it on the Linux, on the Windows, and on the Mac thing. So this has been changed a lot, but please feel free to explore around it. So for the documentation part, I think that's part. So how to use it? I think the process is very simple. So once you open the application in a laptop, you will see this screen. Okay, that is a getting started point, and once you click on the getting started button, so that's where the data upload really come in. Um, and the uploading data and the open data, it is very simple. I can just quickly show you after this process. So there is also as installation, there is a 3 points involved. So click on the upload data button. So there is an upload button, and you can upload from two sources. So one is definitely from a local computer. You can just do okay. One, you can just select one Excel sheet and upload it, or if not, you can also select the entire folder, root folder of it. So if you are not doing okay one data or two data at a time, but you are doing 15 data or 20 data at a time, you can just upload the folder also. And there is also a ways to do add external data. For example, if a data set is on the GitHub, or if a data set is on the Google Sheet. So for the Google Sheet data, you don't have to like go to downloads and do download and everything. Just you can just publish the data set on the web and add to the open data editor. And once that done, the application will upload a data set. And one thing that has to be make sure that is, so the application doesn't really make changes on your core data set that you uploaded. What it will do is it will just create a copy on the temporary folder within the open data editor root folder, and make sure that your original data sets are kept on the safe page. So if there are like any further changes that you really don't want to do, so your original file is already there. So I can quickly share that. So uh, sorry, my entire screen is visible, right? Can anyone confirm that?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. But if you have like any question, please feel free to like. I haven't really checked the chat, but I can look into the at the last of it. So this is the open data editor. So I already have it installed it as mentioned. I think the process is very simple. I have it downloaded here, and then once I click on it, double click on it, I think things get started. So this is the overall UI. As I mentioned, it doesn't really have lots of stuff on it, because the aim of this tool is very straightforward. It aims to empower the user so that the getting started point for the people while working on the data sets became easier. So if you look into it, so there are two ways to upload the data sets. One is here, upload the data set, and second is here, as I mentioned. So once you click on the upload data set, so it will give, okay, you can add Excel sheet or CSV files. If not, you can also select the folders. And if you are using, okay, Google Sheet or CSV link, you can just click on it and do it around it. So you can just click on it, click on the select, and okay, for example, I have okay the population of Asia Pacific download here. I can just click on open, and okay, this is what it really looks like. So I ingested or uploaded the population data set, and this open data editor read that data set and shows us like this. So what after this, I can just quickly show around it. So once you upload the datasets, I think as I mentioned, so the one of the key core objectives of the tool is to detect the errors, right? So as you have already seen, there are things highlighted in the red color. So once you upload the datasets in the tool, so if your file has the errors, the open data editor will add red color. It will highlight that in the red colors in the report panel. So there is an event report panel. For example, in this screenshot, there is a 4, which means that particular data set has 4 errors, and it also highlights where the errors are really right. So that's what it really looks like in it. And to explore the data error also, so once the okay things are highlighted in red, you can just click on the error reports, and it will display what type of errors it is really, right, dependable. For example, if it has duplicate labels, it shows that. If that has like okay blank space around it, or okay date error or constant error kinds of stuff, constant error, it will just show around that, right? So if you look into this tool, for example, this is the data set that I recently uploaded, right? So it has, okay, shows 37 errors. So if I click onto it, okay, it says, okay, there is a blank label, a five blank label, and it's mostly on um, the row one. And also it has also says that there are 28 okay, empty rows in it. So with in the row number two, row number three, and row number five, and row number 220, something like that. And at the same time, it also say type mismatch. So this is just the normal things that I downloaded from the internet and uploaded it. I don't know what types of errors there are, right? So it said that, okay, the cell value doesn't match the expected data type or format in the column, which means, okay, the metadata isn't really in there. So I can go into the data file and see, okay, these are the errors, right? It doesn't really have the column name kinds of stuff. So so I can edit it and give it a good column name. If not, I can just delete it kinds of stuff, right? So this is how you look into the errors in the data set. I can just see and like do, okay, during the DRAPAC summit, I did some demos around the population of Malaysia, and I can just quickly click on it. Okay, if there is clean data sets, there is no errors in it. So it will say, okay, there is no data errors. And in the error report panel, it doesn't show the error, for example. But if I, okay, deleted couple of it just to see and like save around it, later it will process it and like it shows, okay, there are, okay, this number of data sets error kinds of in the so uh, the error detections has been like has become much more easier after this. You can just click on it and do around kinds of stuff. So once the error is explored, so I think you already get some idea. I think there is no complexity around it. So you just upload the data, and I think errors are highlighted in the red color. You can just click on the error report and see what's really there, right? What type of error there is. Uh, so will the two will it like one of the questions that we frequently receive is, will Open Data Editor kind of detect the errors of all types? And the answer is no, definitely, because we have been developing this since maybe past 3 years on the very comprehensive level, although we started the brainstorming since a very long time. So what type of error that Open Data Editor automatically detect is very limited. So currently it detects missing headers, it detects missing column names, it also detects the duplicate column names, the empty rows, missing cells, extra cells, wrong data type, which is kind of, for example, date format. Okay, we have different types of date formats in it. We have different types of different types of ways on how we write stuff. So it also detect wrong data types, also depend upon it. And also it also detect the error requiring metadata. So for example, if some level of metadata is required in the dataset, it also help you detect that. And you can already also check in the documentation of Open Data Editor website to read more about what type of error it really highlight kinds of stuff. So, and also it's very important to understand, okay, this entire error detection process is based on the frictionless framework, which is the another type of standards, which aim is to like reduce the friction from the datasets, make sure that, okay, datasets is like kind of compatible with any kinds of platform, any kinds of system, or any kinds of infrastructure. So just to reduce the frictions of kinds of stuff. So please feel free to explore that. So at the same time, you can also manage the data after you detect the error. I can just show you, just quickly go through it and show you the demo later. So if you have like many data sets, so for example, as I mentioned, you do not upload the folder. So like there is an option to add the folder, right? So there is in my local computer, there is an folder called data set APrIGF, and it has 10 different data sets. One is about what type of proposal is there. One type data set is more about participant list. One data set is about the people applying for fellowship and certain kinds of stuff. So if I have to check the error in that data set, so I have to open the 10 data sets and go through it kinds of stuff. So what I can do is I can use the tool, upload the entire folder, and click one by one just to see what type of error there are. If there are none, I think the data set is good for the further processing. But if there are errors, I can always correct that errors, right? So that's how you can manage the data sets also. And exploring the errors, I think, or editing the metadata is very important. And this is where the data literacy really comes handy. So as we present the tools to lots of non-technical users, what they wanted was always more, because they wanted everything to be done by tool, which is definitely impossible, because you have to understand how the data really works, right? So you have to understand the different types of metadata if you really wanted to work on data. So what the tool really helps you do is to edit the metadata also. So if you look into the rows, so there are three dots that's located on the corner of it of the column, and if you click on it, so it will display the metadata panel. Initially, it was used to be a bit complex and more technical, but later we have because we want tool to be focused more for the non-technical user, we kind of change it. So you click on it and you can just edit the column name and data type on it. So for example, if it's text, if it's date, if it's not numbers kinds of stuff, and there are lots of other options for it. So for example, it can be array, it can be date and time, it can be durations, it can be year kinds of stuff. So like you can always click on it and explore that. And exploring the metadata, and also if you don't want integers, like for example, one of the common things that we'll have in our data sets, so sometimes we love to keep the empty cells, we put our rows and columns, and there are some gaps on it, or it might not have some level of data. So what this like if you work on the advanced data analysis or cleaning, what the computer or machine will read is that empty cells means error, because you cannot really have the empty cells in your tabular data set. It might doesn't show as an error in an Excel sheet or in the Google sheet, but if you have to like put that with the different machines, which is like kind of automated kinds of stuff, it will detect it as an error. So you can in the open data editor itself, you can like see whether you want to like flag that as an error or not, because that was the common problem that lots of non-technical user kind of find out. So if you want empty shares to be highlighted as an error, I can keep it as an like yes. If not, no. So that one of a particular problem can be edited. And editing error is also kind of easy. Although we don't encourage the use of open data editor for the complex data editing, because once the error is identified, our encouragement is to go back to the spreadsheet, identify the particular rows, and just edit it there. But for many people, I think that might be a very double work. So what we have done is like let people edit the data sets in the tool itself. So what you can do is you can just locate the cell where the error is there, double click on the cells, double click on it, and add the value if that's missing. For example, if the numbers is missing, if the dates is missing, or any kinds of things that has been highlighted is missing, you can just double click on it, edit on it, and save. Then click on the save change, and it will kind of update the error report. So if your edit works fine, it will deduct the number of error that has been like highlighted. But if uh, either the editing the error that you corrected doesn't works fine, it will keep it the same, and you have to find ways to edit the errors, right? So and you can also export the data. So once the correction is done, so your data gets clean, you can click on the export button, And once you click on the export button, so there are two ways to export the file. So one is the file with the error. So for example, for many users, so they just want, okay, errors to be highlighted and don't want to make correction further. They can do it on their own spreadsheet software kinds of things. So what they can do is they can just download the errors, download the files with the errors. But if you have like already make the correction in the data set, you can just click the data that has been like corrected already corrected, and it will just for example that's the screenshot of my computer. So it says, okay, once you click on the download file, it will just simply download in my downloads folder of my respective computers kind of. I can quickly go through it. So what I really mentioned, for example, this is the population data set that I recently uploaded in my computer. So there are, okay, 37 different kinds of errors in the data set. But that doesn't mean I can easily make corrections of all these data sets. So for example, there is a source of data set that has been like downloaded. For example, I download this data set from the World Bank. So there is an URL. So might not be a right place to do it. So I can just delete it here. And it also say, okay, uh, which country are excluded from this data set, right? So might not be also important for me, right, to keep it there. So I deleted couple of it, and I save on it. So it will take some times to update the error reports and everything. And it says, okay, type mismatch. So couple of things that were already there has been gone, right? So I can do that on the similar manner to either like correct the data sets and everything. So for example, for the ranking, it's already there. So might not be, so this might be a right place, right? So I can keep it here. So this might be on the 1,000, right? So uh, kinds of thing, and population and ranking, right? So I can keep on doing that. And okay, there is ranking stuff. So I say, okay, I can keep it, right. So number of error reports keeps on decreasing. So it was 35 and the 35, and one of the mismatch error that was there is gone. So there is an empty rows and blank labels kinds of stuff. So I can click that. And so for example, for the populations, I can already say this say, so one of the major parts. So many of these error can be corrected just on the double clicks kinds of stuff. So another important part is about metadata, which I mentioned. So there is a three dots here. So for example, for the populations, I think the tools auto detect that, okay, this is the integer, right? So, but if I say, okay, text, maybe it might be a text, right? And it say, okay, do I really want to highlight empty row cell as error or not? So I can just click there, and if I click on the population, so initially it was integer and the error wasn't really detected as the things was doesn't the entire column wasn't shown as an error, but later I changed it as an text, and it says, okay, this has to be text, not numbers, right? So and it says, okay, this is an error. So this is the importance of metadata while working on it. So and these things doesn't really shows on this spreadsheet. So it might be very important. So later I change, okay, this is the integer, not a text. So I can change it, and it's corrected. And for this also, if we have numbers, we can click on it, and if not, we can delete that and kinds of stuff, and the errors numbers can keep on it. So you can save the save the change, look at the change, and later there is an ways to export it. So once the data set error is corrected like this, for example, for the demo purposes, I just downloaded one data from the World Bank. But imagine this has thousands and rows and columns, and the errors are identified or highlighted in the red color. So this might be a very easy things for us to work on it. And once the correction is done, I can click on the export button, and it's as I mentioned in the screenshot, there are two ways of doing things. One is download files, so which means, okay, once the correction is done, I can download the corrected files, which are refined, which is good for further processing or further publishing. And there is a download file with errors. So I can click on it, and downloads the file that has errors, it will have the highlighted rows and columns, and later you can compare that with your original spreadsheet software and correct it there, right? So this is the one of the basic use, and this is how you can export the entire data sets over it. Very small and straightforward process. I think, as I mentioned, there is no jargon involved in it. You can just give it a try with a smaller data sets, with bigger data sets, with the data set that has different languages, different values, kinds of stuff. And as I mentioned, I think there is an AI feature. There is an AI feature in the Open Data Editor also. Uh, but with AI features, I think there is always a controversy. So initially, during the introduction, I mentioned, okay, we are very privacy-friendly tool, but at the same time, okay, there is an AI features also. So this is something that we really want. We are trying to balance, and also this is where we look for the suggestions and feedback from the communities like us. So the AI component is the new integrations in the Open Data Editor. So our idea is to use the responsible and offline LLMs. So meaning, okay, no data will be sent in the cloud. So the things that the AI features will run on your computer, not on some other servers and cloud, and all operations will take directly on the user's computer. So for example, I as a Nikesh Balami, I'm using the AI features on the Open Data Editor. That means, okay, it will run on my computer. It will definitely take some time because it's not running on some high-end server kinds of stuff. But our idea is to make sure that it's offline and also it's responsible. We don't want some AI companies to get your sensitive data, because for the non-profit, for the activists, I think this is very important to make sure that our sensitive data, which cannot go to public, uh, doesn't has to go through some AI tools kinds of stuff. And this is also our commitment to build uh, simple, sustainable, and last-long technology that address real-world problems. Because, as I mentioned, the we want to make sure that, okay, technology we want has to be simple, doesn't need to be very complex, doesn't need to be very expensive at the same time. So for the AI feature, initially there was definitely the ChatGPT integration in the Open Data Editor also, because we want to make sure that, okay, with one prompt you can create the visualization, with one prompt you can like clean the data set kinds of stuff. But with the discussion with lots of activists and lots of non-profit organizations, we remove the ChatGPT integrations, and currently the local solution is powered by open source tool which is called LLAMP, uh, LLAMP.cpp. So it's an offline LLM tools. I encourage all of you to check it out. So with this new architecture, so it definitely enables users to work on the LLM models without sending the core data sets to the external service provider kinds of stuff. So I think I make these things very clear over here. And how these things work, I think this is very simple process. As I mentioned, there is no jargon involved. So we in right in the side of export bottom, there is an AI button. So you can click on the AI button and it says, okay, it will like uh, prompt dialog bottom, which says, okay, this works offline and doesn't gives some sort of disclaimer bottom for it. Once you click on OK, it will ask you to download the model on your computer. So without downloading the model on your computer, it definitely doesn't really work. So it's around 2 GB. So definitely requires space in your computer. So once you click on the model that you want to download, you can click on it and click the download on it and select the model after it's get download. So how does it work? So once the model has been downloaded, it's like you can click on the AI and you can click on the models, and once you select the model, it will it will make sure the full list of column names in data. So it's highlight, okay, what can be improved, and once you click on the execute, it will take some time because it works on the local computer, and depending upon the number of columns in your file, it will take few minutes. So once you click on the execute, uh, something like this happens. So for example, this is these few examples of input and output. It will definitely take some time. So I'm not going to show everything on the demo, but I encourage every one of you to check into it. So this was the car model that I tested. So for example, here it read my data set and read my column that okay, date register, type, makers, model, color, fuel, kinds of stuff, and okay, give an examples of things that and it once the model AI model is executed, it says, okay, based on the information provided, following names can it just gives you the suggestions of what type of changes you can do. So for example, for the date underscore rate, it suggested okay registration on the date. So the making things easier for the processing kinds and you can also delete the data or folder from it. So I'm coming to the a bit in. So if you look into the data set, so I can click on the AI model. I can say, okay, don't show this everything. So currently the model is already downloaded. So I can just click on the next and execute the model. It will take some time. But if the model is not downloaded, it will ask you to download and you can just further make sure that processing is done. And it also says, okay, where the model will stay, right? So it will stay on the, okay, for my case, I user Nikesh Balami / open data / TMP / AI model. So this is where my AI models will be downloaded and for the executed kinds of stuff. But after everything is done, I can always delete and rename the files kinds of, which is the basic tools kind basic features of the tool. So I don't need this file. I can just delete it, click it in, delete, and okay. I can also say, as I say, this doesn't goes to the once you upload the data set in the open data editor, it doesn't takes you to it doesn't really make changes in your original folder. So it will create the copy. You can see where the file is located. You can rename it and everything. And the tool also have okay some user guides if you want to report an issue, because as I mentioned, this is a kind tools that has been like developed with the consultation co-created in the consultation with lots of other non-profit stakeholders. So if you see any new features that is required and if any that, you can always click on the report issue and it will take you to the GitHub where you can like create an issue kinds of stuff. So you can delete folders and everything as I just saw it. So I highly encourage you to like go through these steps and check it out. But as mentioned, we are continuously gathering feedback um, and making improvements to iterative process. So this is not okay. We building the tools and like going to the community, but this is taking the feedback from the community. Currently, I think there are lots of open data and open knowledge community who are giving us the feedback, but at the same time, we are really desperately looking for feedback from the community who are working on the different background. We are working on inclusivity. We are working on internet governance. We are working on some other perspective also. So last but not the least, I think before I move for any sort of questions with the 5 minutes time or 6 minute time we have, I also highly encourage you all to check the course that we have in our School of Data platform. James can quickly share the link of the course into it. It's a free course because as I mentioned, it's not just about the tools, the data empowerment or the use of data for the public goods. It's also about understanding the data literacy, because without understanding the importance of metadata, without understanding the responsible AI use, I think you cannot go and you just use the data sets in the random manner. So we also have this free and open source course, which is called Quality and Consistent Data with Open Data Editor. It's a essential open education resources that anyone can use and generate knowledge from data. It just go through all the technical perspective of data and just a simple use case. I think it's very good for non-profit leaders and organizations, because that's where the focus is all about. We don't want a big tech or fancy private company to use the tool. We just want to empower the non-profit activist people to use it, because that's where the privacy-friendly tools comes from. So it's very fun course with lots of quizzes and a knowledge check, and you also can definitely get the certificate at the end of it. You can a lot useful tips and tricks which can be kind of helpful for your everyday work. So because in our sessions, so with the limited time, we can always definitely don't cannot cover a lot of it, but it already have all the things that I said and explore around. I can quickly share my email address at the end of the session. But this is what the any feedback is also more about the question. It's also about the feedback. As I mentioned, it's a co-creation thing. So if you want some other data workflow to be incorporated in the tool, you can always reach out to us. If you want, okay, some new features to be added in the tools, okay, if you use the tool and find it, okay, this is not for me, this types of features is missing, you can always reach out to us and say, okay, maybe is there a possibility to like add this type of features because we want to understand that perspective. So could help solve a specific problem we are facing. So that can be also. And if there is any features and functionality do you feel missing, please feel free to like reach out to us and kinds of stuff. So this is my email. So Nikesh Balami at oknt.org. You can always email me, and also definitely you can find the Open Knowledge Foundation, Open Knowledge Nepal, in the different platforms, in the different websites, and please, one of the our encouragement. So during the in person, we really wanted to do that on the tables, but that hasn't been feasible, and that's where we move with the demos and everything with a screenshot. But please use the tools once. Um, if you find it helpful, that's really great. But if you find something missing, please reach out to us. We'll definitely try to incorporate that because at the end of the day, our one of the goal is to empower the nonprofit leaders, the activists, uh, to make decisions based on data and strengthen their work in the evidence, in the information that are already there. So rather than gathering everything from the scratch kind of stuff. So thank you so much, everyone. With we have 2 minutes left. I can quickly check the chat if there is like any questions. But if anyone want to speak, please feel free to like open the mic and ask the questions too. So thank you so much for all the patience and everything. If there is any questions, please. If not, please, as I requested again, feel free to like use the tools, explore it around. And
There seems to be one question in the chat box.
I'm trying to scroll, but there are not what.
Perhaps I can just read it out. You have 1 minute, but Maria Luisa asked, do you have some kind of business model or what kind of sources of funding or income?
Thank you. I was I was very in the off, but I just saw it. Thank you so much, Maria. I think with that 1 minute. So currently, I think as I mentioned, so this is the co-creation. So lots of the development is done in the open source model. So lots of contributors are there who are like contributing on the source code, on the documentation kinds of stuff. But for the user testing and like outreach of like in the different communities. So there are some level of funding which are like done by the some philanthropic organization that is also in the open data editor websites who are funding it and what type of work they are funding it. So we are not taking the fund for the code development and code essence work, but more for the outreach and community collaboration kinds of stuff. So I think that's all from our side. We'll definitely share all the slides and everything. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rani. And thank you so much for all the patience.
Thank you, Nikesh. Thank you, James. Great job.